In a bombshell legal development, U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan unsealed a 165-page filing from Special Counsel Jack Smith that paints a grim picture of Donald Trump's actions during and after the January 6th Capitol riots. The document reveals details that are not only gobsmacking but deeply unsettling, particularly concerning Trump's indifference to the violence as it unfolded and his shocking disdain for his own legal team. The January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol remains one of the most defining moments in modern American history. A day that began as a routine certification of electoral votes turned into a violent insurrection, shaking the foundations of American democracy. Much has been written about the day's events, from the riot itself to the political fallout that followed. But with the unsealing of Jack Smith's brief, new revelations about Donald Trump's involvement have come to light. This document doesn't just recount what happened on that fateful day. It dives deep into Trump's mindset, actions, and inaction during one of the most critical moments of his presidency. One particularly shocking detail is how Trump mocked his own lawyer, Sidney Powell, while chaos reigned in the nation's capital. As rioters stormed the Capitol and threats against Vice President Mike Pence intensified, Trump's behavior was not that of a concerned leader, but rather someone detached and focused on his own narrative of a stolen election. This new information from Smith's brief, combined with forensic phone data and testimony, paints a damning picture of a president willfully ignoring the violence and actively fanning the flames of unrest. This video will break down the key elements of this explosive filing, offering an in-depth look at Trump's actions on January 6th, the role of his legal team, and how these new revelations shaped the ongoing criminal investigation against him. Trump's detachment as the Capitol burned. From the beginning, Trump's refusal to accept the results of the 2020 election set the stage for the January 6th insurrection. After months of baseless claims about election fraud, Trump gathered his supporters in Washington, D.C. on the morning of January 6th, where he delivered a fiery speech urging them to fight like hell. Following this speech, rioters marched to the Capitol and breached its walls, sending shockwaves across the country. However, according to Smith's filing, while this chaos unfolded, Trump was not in a war room or directing security forces to regain control. Instead, he was seated in the dining room adjacent to the Oval Office, watching the events unfold on Fox News. Forensic phone data reveals that Trump was using the Twitter app while watching the Capitol violence escalate in real time. This paints a stark picture of a man who, instead of stepping up to protect democracy, appeared content to let events play out until he could use them to his advantage. As Fox News reported the breach of the Capitol and the injury of Capitol police officers, one might have expected Trump to act swiftly. After all, he was still the sitting president, the commander-in-chief. But what did Trump do? Instead of responding to the violence or trying to de-escalate the situation, he sent a now infamous tweet targeting Vice President Mike Pence, who was under increasing threat from the mob. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, Trump tweeted, further riling up the already enraged rioters. This moment, highlighted in Jack Smith's brief, serves as a critical turning point. Trump knew that the Capitol had been breached. He knew that the rioters were targeting his vice president, and he knew that violence was unfolding. Yet, instead of trying to calm the situation, he chose to escalate it, effectively throwing Pence to the wolves. So what? Trump's response to Pence's peril. Perhaps the most damning revelation from Smith's filing is Trump's response when informed that Pence was in imminent danger. According to an aide's testimony, Trump's reaction was cold and dismissive. So what? This casual indifference to the life of his own vice president is startling in its lack of empathy or leadership. It wasn't just that Trump failed to act. He didn't seem to care at all. The question that arises from this revelation is one of intent. Did Trump actively want the mob to harm Pence? Did he believe that such a violent outcome might further his own narrative of a stolen election? While these are difficult questions to answer definitively, the filing suggests that Trump's lack of action wasn't accidental. He chose not to intervene when his intervention could have made a difference. This isn't just a matter of poor judgment. It speaks to Trump's mindset and intent during the riot. His decision to do nothing while watching the violence unfold is, in itself, deeply troubling. But even more unsettling is his decision to pour fuel on the fire with his tweet about Pence, fully aware of the potential consequences. Sidney Powell, the lawyer Trump mocked. Amidst the chaos of January 6th, another revelation from Smith's filing stands out. Trump's private thoughts about Sidney Powell, one of his most ardent legal defenders in his quest to overturn the 2020 election results. Powell was among the loudest voices peddling conspiracy theories about foreign interference in the election, including the infamous claims about voting machines being rigged. While Powell became a public face of Trump's legal efforts, the newly unsealed documents reveal that Trump privately mocked her. According to the filing, while Powell was advancing her baseless claims, Trump muted the phone and ridiculed her, referring to her as crazy. This is significant for two reasons. First, it shows that Trump knew that the theories being pushed by Powell and others in his camp were absurd. If Trump was calling his own lawyer crazy, then he was fully aware of the fact that his legal efforts were based on lies and misinformation. Secondly, this undermines Trump's defense that he genuinely believed the election had been stolen. If he didn't even take Powell seriously, how could he have believed that her outlandish claims about rigged voting machines were valid? This revelation could play a crucial role in Jack Smith's prosecution, as it speaks to Trump's intent. He knew that the election wasn't stolen, yet he continued to push the narrative, inciting his supporters to action, even as those actions turned violent. Calls for riots. The smoking gun? Another critical piece of evidence highlighted in the filing is a statement from an anonymous Trump campaign operative who reportedly urged the crowd to make them riot. This suggests that key figures within Trump's orbit were not merely hoping for a peaceful protest, but actively encouraging violent unrest. While the identity of this operative remains unknown, the statement is emblematic of the atmosphere within Trump's inner circle on January 6th. This, combined with Trump's "so what" response to Pence's danger, paints a picture of a president and his team not just indifferent to violence, but welcoming it as a tool for their political aims. This level of callousness and disregard for the safety of elected officials and law enforcement is unprecedented in modern American politics. Trump's low-energy response. In the aftermath of the unsealing of Jack Smith's brief, Trump's public response has been uncharacteristically subdued. While he has railed against the witch hunt and claimed that the case is a scam, his reactions have lacked the bombast and energy that usually define his political statements. His posts on Truth Social and public comments have focused on process and procedure, rather than directly addressing the damning revelations from Smith's investigation. This could indicate that Trump's legal team is struggling to mount a defense against the overwhelming evidence presented by Smith. With phone records, witness testimony, and forensic data all working against him, Trump's usual strategy of denying and deflecting may not be enough to sway public opinion or, more importantly, the courts. The revelations from Jack Smith's unsealed filing provide a shocking glimpse into Donald Trump's actions and mindset on January 6th. From mocking his own lawyer to effectively abandoning his vice president to the mob, Trump's behavior was not just negligent. It was calculated. The forensic data from his phone, combined with witness testimony, paints a picture of a president who not only failed to stop the violence, but actively encouraged it, all while knowing full well that his claims of election fraud were baseless. As the legal process moves forward, these revelations will likely play a central role in the case against Trump. While he continues to decry the investigation as politically motivated, the evidence suggests that his role in the January 6th insurrection was far more direct and deliberate than previously understood. The unsealed filing is not just another chapter in the saga of Donald Trump's post-presidency. It is a damning indictment of his actions on one of the darkest days in American history. In the coming weeks and months, as more details emerge, one thing is clear. Donald Trump's legacy will forever be tied to January 6th, and no amount of denial can change the facts now laid bare in Jack Smith's bombshell brief.